up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for May 20th, 2024. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Monday edition of the podcast. We're slowly creeping to the unofficial start of summer. Memorial Day weekend starts this weekend. Cannot wait. Looks like the weather is going to be a lot nicer than what I had originally seen, which makes it even better. But as always, let's start with a recap of yesterday's question of the day. I asked you which Phillies team is the most likable, and this one was right down the board, right down the middle, just like I had thought. It was pretty much on generational lines. 40% said the 93 Phillies, 40% said the 07 to 2011 Phillies. Surprisingly, 20% said this 2022 to current team. And I know there's been a lot of talk. I was listening to John Johnson on the radio this morning at the gym. He was talking about how likable this team was and how connectable they were. But I think the 93 team was the one that started all that. They were like us. They were drinking beer. They were eating pizza. They were eating wings. And then, of course, the 07 to 11, that was just must see all the time. And don't get me wrong, I like this team a lot. So not a knock on any of them. And I think the 76 through 83 teams, depending on who you ask, if you ask folks from like my parents or even my grandparents' generation, they'll probably tell you they like those teams and those guys. I know for a fact my grandmother was a huge fan of a lot of the players on those teams. So there you go. It's just your own personal preference and just having a little bit of fun yesterday on a Sunday. But as always, thank you for participating in the question of the day. There will be another one later in the show. But 267-495-8531 will get you in on the Back to the Future voice and text line. Text, leave a voicemail, whatever you got to do about what is on your mind. All right, Phillies swept the Nats last night. They just keep winning series and winning series. They are now 20 games over 500 for the first time, and couldn't even tell you how long. Probably 2011. Schwarber had a game, 3 walks, 3 runs. Bohm, 5 RBIs and a homer. Cody Clemens has been playing hot. Bryce, 3 for 5 with 2 RBI. And they got a 5-game lead here heading into Memorial Day week. So usually Memorial Day is like that, one of those quarter poles. So we'll see where they are at the end of the week. But just the way things are going with this team, you have to like it. They do have great chemistry, and I can see where people will say, oh, we like this team and this, that, and the other, because they do seem to play for each other. I told you about the report I saw that they talk trash to each other, just kind of like we do, honestly, like when we're out golfing or shooting hoops or whatever. So I really, really like the trash talking and just the good chemistry they have. There's a good balance, I think, as well. I don't know. I like where this team is heading. I like what they're doing. We'll have more on them tomorrow. They're off today, so I have a couple things to talk about tomorrow with this Phillies team and just where they're heading and what I'm seeing. But Nola was outstanding yesterday. 7 innings, 2 earned runs, 5 Ks. And there's been a lot, and this is one of the things I'm going to talk about, is just who they've played in their schedule. I'll get more into that tomorrow, but the Rangers are coming into town. The Rangers are the defending champs, so it's a good test for the Phils, sort of a measuring stick to see where they are. But we'll have more on that tomorrow. But for right now, day off, enjoy it. Celebrate the fact that your Phillies have a 5-game lead over the Braves and are 20 games over 500 for the first time in whatever. And they're doing it all kinds of different ways, and that's the key there. They do have that London series coming up. Philly Goat has you covered for the London series. Go check it out. Time is running out to get that in time for the series. They have the Founding Fathers. I'd scuff Mrs. Met. The British blew a 13 colony lead. And if you're not don't want the London series, or you're not going and don't want to buy the shirts, get the Philly Fanatic Feast Mode shirt, because the Phillies have been on a beast mode tear. So get that to celebrate how the Phillies are doing. Anything you want. And I keep telling you this, go through the whole site and look for some of the older stuff, because the things they have are just incredible, and it's good material, good quality. Go check it out, phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off your order. That's phillygoat.com, promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off of your order. I promise you will not be disappointed. Be sure to hit me up on social media, Jimbo_Mont at Twitter and TikTok, at Philly Jimbo on Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everyone. Let's spread the word. Let's grow this thing. We have a lot of fun things coming up, but more on that in a minute. But can't do it without you. So spread the word, and if you like it, hit us like wherever you're watching or listening to it, like this. And all of those things play into the algorithm and help grow the podcast. If you're interested in Philly Hall of Fame induction information, all that is in the description. Again, if you have a business, be sure to hit me up and let me know if you want to be a sponsor or donate something. I'm working on specifically in the East Falls, Manioc, Roxborough area, stuff that sort of like a package there. So if you have a business or know someone who has a business there, let me know and I'll get in touch with them and we can set something up. Quick housekeeping. I mentioned a lot of fun things up on the horizon. We're about to enter the dog days of summer where it's really just the Phillies. So I do like to have some fun and do different things. But that nickname tournament is coming up soon. I'm finalizing some things, but tentatively it looks like it'll be around June 24th running through July 25th. But as I finalize the details, I'll be sure to let you know. Again, the best way is to subscribe to my social media and the YouTube channel and just follow me there. Thinking about doing some special episodes this summer once I have some more time, but the big thing, working on trying to get the seeding down for the nickname tournament, so stay tuned for that. Tentatively, it looks like we'll be set to go and start to kick the tournament off on June 24th, and it will run through July 25th. Where you guys get to interact and vote on who has the best nickname in Philadelphia. So stay tuned for more details on that. Quick Sixers update. The Knicks loss, which is outstanding, absolutely outstanding. Love it, and we will be Pacers fans at least for the next series as well. I cannot root for Boston no matter what. So sorry about your luck, Knicks fans. That's all. That's all I got to say. The way it happened was just, it's better than I could have even asked for or envisioned. Blowing the 2-0 lead, talking trash, going to the funeral in Indiana, and then not being able to do anything with it. Couldn't have happened to a better fan base. But we will be Pacers fans in the Eastern Conference Final. Cannot root for Boston no matter what. All right, today we got a Monday triple shot for you to kind of get you going. Triple shot of espresso, whatever you want, but hopefully get your week started on the right note. First, we're going to start in 1951, and on May 20th, 1951, the Phillies swept the Pirates in a doubleheader, 17-0 and 12-4 at Forbes Field in Pittsburgh. Richie Ashburn had 7 hits, all singles, as he went 4 for 6. He had 8 hits. I can't read my own writing. 8 hits. He went 4 for 6 and 4 for 5 in both games. All totaled on the day, 8 hits, 4 runs, scored 4 RBI, added 2 walks. Now, you might be wondering, is that some type of record for hits in a doubleheader or hits in a day? 8 players have had 9 hits in a doubleheader. There's also one player who had 9 hits in an 18-inning game. But still, overall, not a bad day for Richie Ashburn and the Phillies. Sticking with the Phillies theme, we're going to go to 1988. And on this day in 1988, the Phillies lost to the Padres 4-3 in walk-off fashion. However, Mike Schmidt got the scoring started for the Phils with a 2-run homer in the first, his 535th of his career. This was important because it passed Jimmy Fox for 8th all-time on the home run list. Jimmy Fox has a Philly connection as he was a star for the A's and played his final season with the Phillies. Mike Schmidt retired as number 7 on the all-time home run list. Ironically, a year later in San Diego, but he is currently number 16 now on the all-time home run list. Still number 1 for my money in my heart. But in the lineup, interesting little tidbit there, in the lineup that day for the Padres were future Phillies and teammates of Mike Schmidt that following year, Dickie Thon, John Kruk, and Randy Reddy. Future Philly Benito Santiago caught for the Padres that day. And then Schmidt's former teammates Keith Moreland and Mark Davis were also got playing time that day for the Padres. So just all around Philly connection that day. And then finally, we're going to go to 2001. And we've been talking a lot about this series. But on this day, the Sixers beat the Raptors 88-87 when Vince Carter missed a buzzer beater at the end. This clinched a spot in the Eastern Conference Final for the Sixers against the Bucks, and we all know how that whole playoff run played out. So triple shot Monday for you. In 1951, Richie Ashburn collected 8 hits in a doubleheader, in which the Phillies swept the Pirates. 1988 on this day, Mike Schmidt hit number 535, passing Jimmy Fox for number 8 all time. And in 2001, the Sixers beat the Raptors 88-87 when Vince Carter's buzzer beater clanked off the back of the rim, clinching a spot in the Eastern Conference Finals for the Sixers. Finally today, it's a family affair, and our spotlight is Eric Lindros, center for the Flyers. One of the greatest and best to ever do it. Spent 8 years in Philly, scored 290 goals, 369 assists. Top 10 all-time for the Flyers in goals, assists, points, plus minus, points per game, hat tricks, goals per game, assists per game, points per game. He's in the NHL, or the Pro Hockey, I guess it is, Hall of Fame. His number 88 is retired by the Flyers, but his entire tenure is just marked with disappointment. You had the whole fighting with Bobby Clark, and his parents were involved. It just got very, very messy at the end after starting off so promising. They gave up so much in the draft for him. And I will say, I think as much as they gave up, and the fact that one of the players was Peter Forsberg, the fact that Lindros had the career that he did, I'd have to say it was well worth it. Would you have wanted a Stanley Cup? Absolutely. But I think overall, a fan favorite, just got messy with Bobby Clark and everything at the end of his career. Would go on to play for a couple different teams before finally calling it quits. But this is a family affair, and Eric had a younger brother, Brett. I'm all over the place today. I had too much coffee, I think. I'm not used to being up this early. But Eric had a younger brother, Brett, who played 2 years with the Islanders, 51 games total. Unfortunately, he was forced to retire due to concussions. Post-concussion syndrome is just, at the time, it was a rough sport. Lots of guys getting concussions. But this is another case of, fortunately, the Flyers and Philadelphia having the correct brother. Eric Lindros is today's family affair focus. And I mentioned how his whole career was probably summed up, like despite being a fan favorite and all the highlights and everything, disappointing to say the least, because they did not bring home the Stanley Cup. And the one time they got there, they were swept. So that leads us to today's question of the day. Of the Hall of Famers in Philly who have not won a championship, which one do you think deserved it the most? Eric Lindros, Charles Barkley, Allen Iverson, or Brian Dawkins? This is a tough one for me. I'm going to have to go with AI if I was voting in this. I think AI, for all he did for the city, I think he's the one that is most deserving of a championship. Because you can make the argument that Brian Dawkins kind of won one when he was an assistant, but not as a player. That's why I included him on there. But which Hall of Famer in Philadelphia is most deserving of a championship? Is it Eric Lindros, Charles Barkley, AI, or B. Dawk? Let me know what you think. 267-495-8531. Get you in on the Back to the Future voice and text line. Leave me a voicemail. Leave me a text message. Let's get this thing growing. Let's start practicing now for the nickname tournament, getting involved and leaving your votes wherever you are. Any of the social media works. The voice and text line works. If you even have to send me a text message or call me on the phone, that works too. Smoke signals. Let's start practicing, gearing up to make this tournament even more successful than what we did for the Lovable Loser tournament. But which Hall of Famer is most deserving of a title? Is it Eric Lindros, Charles Barkley, Allen Iverson, or Brian Dawkins? Let me know what you think. All because today's Family Affair Spotlight is Eric Lindros and his brother Brett. On this day in 2001, the Sixers beat the Raptors to move on to the Eastern Conference Final. In 1988, Mike Schmidt hit his 535th home run, moving past Jimmy Fox for number 8 on the all-time list. And in 1951, Richie Ashburn had 8 hits in a doubleheader sweep of the Pirates for the Phillies out in Pittsburgh. And if you're keeping score at home, like I know a lot of you do, because I would be like, well, what's the record? It is 9. 9 hits, 8 times that has been done. Another time it was done in an 18-inning game, so kind of like a doubleheader. But all of that happened on this day on May 20th in 1951, 1988, and 2001. We'll have more on the Phillies and reaction to their schedule being soft tomorrow. Be sure to let me know what you think about any of the topics we talked about today. There goes my microphone. Pandemonium is breaking out. What is happening? But let me know your thoughts on anything. Answer the question of the day about which Hall of Famer is most deserving of a title. Our pets' heads are falling off. Everything is going crazy. It's a Monday. Good things are going to happen this week, though. It's Memorial Day week. Some of you might have a shorter week or extended long weekend. Looking forward to that. But this has been This Day in Philly Sports History for May 20th. I am Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Monday. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.